with the idea I have and it slowly coming into motion, I can honestly see us being one of the most popular clubs in Oxford.
Get Radio Breakfast with Rich Smith.
Right, really looking forward to chatting to my next guest on the show, Aliyah Anthony, the head of female football at Oxford City. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
No worries. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive straight in. The state of affairs with women's football at Oxford City, thriving.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've absolutely loved my job this year with the new role. I've increased, the youth football by making 5 new teams. We started off with the youngest team being the under 10s. I was in charge of the under 10s at that point, but we've now got an extra 5 teams. So we've got under 8s, which is our youngest team. They're absolutely thriving. I think, if I'm honest, that's the enjoyment of my job. Seeing them girls play football it's amazing. Seeing them score, celebrate. It honestly gives me goosebumps just talking about it. But so we've got under 8s. We've got 2 under 10s team now. So not just one, we've got 2. We've got 2 under 12s now as well. And under 13s, we actually have 3 teams. So we have 2 teams that play in the girls' league, and then we have a team that play in the boys' league as well. We go up to under 14s, and then 16s, 18s, development, and first team. So the pathway here at Oxford City is absolutely phenomenal at the moment.
That is absolutely incredible. To start from such a young age, and just hearing your voice about those youngsters, just having those moments at that young age, and having I feel awful for saying, having that opportunity to. This should have been the case many years ago, and I hate to sort of drag up the England effect again, but you must have seen it in the last sort of 18 months, 2 years. The success of the England's women team in the Euros and coming so close in the World Cup as well, that has had a real effect from the real youngsters.
Yeah, 100%. I think, when I was that age, I think I was playing grassroots for Oxford Blackbirds, if I'm honest, a boys team. There was no such thing as a girls team at that time. It just wasn't a thing, if I'm honest. So to be in this role now and create an under 8s team where it's just girls and they're thriving and they're enjoying it, it does honestly make me think how much, it was harder for me when I was younger, and many women my age now, who are probably in a similar job role, thinking, I wish that could have been me, because you could have developed so much quicker, if I'm honest. Yeah. But the Euros and everything that's happened with the women's game, the saying, just let them play, that has played a massive part. For example, we're on kids camp at the moment because it's half term, and we have girls only camp now. That wasn't a thing a couple of years ago. It used to just be football camp. Now we're getting so much interest in, girls football that we've had to make a camp just for the girls. And that is astonishing. That's amazing by itself. So, the Euros have increased the girls' game massively. What I hope happens now is it continues, which honestly think it will, because they're showing women's football on TV now. It's getting the recognition. And again, I'll say this in every interview I've done, it's not where I want it to be yet. It needs to be higher. It needs to be shown more. It needs to be put into primary schools. I had a conversation with one of my parents from under 12s, and we was talking about how they don't have a girls team yet because there's only 2 girls that, want to play football. And it comes back to the saying, just let them play. Like, if they want to play, then put them in the boys team. Don't just tell them that they can't play. And that's something I am quite passionate about. So yeah, they've inspired everyone. They've inspired me. And I need to inspire the younger generation now to get on board and play football.
It's quite a unique position, sort of monitoring and mentoring, like you say now, for since you've been in this role now, you're looking at all of these teams and seeing that development and that kind of the molding that boys do get from that age. I mean, that's just commonplace. I know that I had it when I was younger, and I'm a little bit older now. But I had that, it was coached and nurtured into you from that age, and then you developed, and then some people went on to become your David Beckhams and goodness knows who else, and other people didn't want to do that. That must be such a buzz to have those 8-year-olds developing, enjoying, improving, and getting up to sort of senior level.
Yeah, 100%. I will go back to our under 8s again, because for me, I love all my youth teams, but for me, that's the one where you kind of watch them and think, wow, Like, I watched their last game. The score. I say to the coach, I say to all the girls, the score never matters to me. It's all about how you play and if you enjoy it. And watching them, they were absolutely amazing. I think to myself when I do watch them is, where are you going to be in 10 years? And honestly, I do see them playing for England. I see them playing for Arsenal, Liverpool, etc. But I do see them being in a football academy or in a football setting. And, we're talking about football, but in life, there's so many lessons that they're learning now from their coach: respect, values, team morale, etc. Environment that they're in. That's going to create them into lovely young adults when they're older. So it's not just sometimes about football. It's honestly about how they're going to portray themselves when they're older.
Yeah, I mean, you paint such a fantastic picture of the future, and I was actually going to touch on the future because the women's game is a fast moving object. You've just mentioned yourself that even in your role, suddenly 5 new teams, getting younger, getting more teams on there. What does the future look like? Certainly for Oxford City.
Do you know, I couldn't even put it into words, if I'm honest. With the idea I have and it slowly coming into motion, I can honestly see us being one of the most popular clubs in Oxford, which honestly I think we already are. But in my eyes, I need to take it higher and I need to take it further, not only for the club, but again, for them youth teams. I'm honestly so passionate about them girls, and I will take this club wherever I need to take it to make sure them girls get into the right academies or get to the right place they want to be. And that goes for the first team and the development team we have here. Going from all the way from under 8s to the first team is the pathway. That's what I want the girls, that's where I want them to be. So for example, we have a couple of girls that play for the first team, but they actually started off at Velocity. So Velocity is a football academy, which we run here. And again, that is a perfect pathway to be getting into the first team and playing women's football. So it's not the case of, you're under 16s and then we put you straight into the deep end and you go to women's football, because that's happened to me in the past. And I didn't like it. I wasn't ready for that step in my life at that point. But if I knew we had the Velocity program where I can come and get a BTEC qualification that could take me to university, and I'm also playing football Monday to Friday, matches on a Wednesday, that is honestly my dream. So the fact that we run that academy allows players to come. I can see their, how they are and if they're enjoying it and if their quality is there. And then if they can, then they go to the first team. And we have 4 girls at the moment who are playing in our first team who are in the Velocity program, which in my eyes is absolutely amazing. And that's exactly where they need to be.
Well, honestly, it's been a real eye opener, and I don't think I've heard many people talk so passionately about their work and their job and the bright things that are going to be happening for the future of Oxford City women and for the club itself. It really feels like a hub of positivity, sort of seeping through from the kids, the women, the men, the extracurricular activities. It really does, and what you're doing is a real testament to you. And I think, like you said, it will just go further and further and further. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you this morning.
Cheers. Thank you so much.